Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name is Brian. Thanks for joining me. Today's video is going to be about the Schrade SCHF5SM. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to thank the folks at Schrade for sending me this so I can show it to you. And I want to tell you, I'm making this video. The week after Blade show here in Atlanta, where I live close to Atlanta, and I actually had the pleasure of meeting Russell Taylor with Taylor Brands and his brother Morgan, and with Taylor Brands and at the Blade show, and I met some other cool folks too. Got to hang out a little bit with Chris from Prepared Mind 101, and Ben from Living Survival, and Joe Mobley. Just had a really good time. I only got a few hours there, but it was pretty overwhelming. If you ever get a chance to go to Blade show, I highly recommend you do it if you like knives, and who doesn't, right? So, but I digress. This is a they're calling it a neck knife. Again, if you saw my other videos about neck knives, one of them, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a neck knife. It's just a small knife. This one's an extremely small knife, and it's actually the little brother for the SCHF5. Here's how they compare. So we got big brother and little brother here. So I did a review on the SCHF5 a while back, and I really like this knife. It's my kind of a secondary small blade. We'll put that out of the way now. But let's take a look at this. We'll talk about the specs on it, and do a couple of close-ups real quick, and then we'll get to doing some of that knife stuff, so stick with me. Okay, once again, this is the Schrade SCHF5SM Mini Full Tang Neck Knife. Features a 2.06-inch drop point blade of 7CR17 MOV steel with a 2.28-inch skeleton handle, which has spine and grip jimping. Features a bottle opener and a lanyard hole, and comes with a neck sheath with a breakaway chain. The overall length of this knife is 4.34 inches, and it weighs just 0.96 ounces. Okay, so that was the specs and some close-ups of the SCHF5SM, which I think stands for small. And they're calling this a neck knife, but I'm actually just call it a small knife that you can wear around your neck if you want to. They're calling it a neck knife because it comes in this neck knife sheath with a breakaway, you know, just a little ball and hook kind of chain. We're going to do some knife stuff with this thing. I got to tell you, I'm not really convinced that the spine's very sharp. We'll take a look at that. Let's do some knife stuff with it. I'll quit rambling and let's get busy. If you've seen many of my videos, you know that one thing that I think is important for any bladed instrument, especially a fixed blade or an axe or whatever, is how well balanced it is. And so that's something I think is really important to check, and I try to do that on every knife I review, at least every full tang knife. And in order to do so, I have created and invested considerable time and money into what I think is probably the most state-of-the-art, most comprehensive balance testing facility in the knife industry. Very possibly, anyway, that's my opinion, obviously. We're going to go ahead and put this knife into the testing facility and see how well she performs. So let's do that right now. Okay, so as you saw, it is surprisingly balanced for such a small implement. I actually took the lanyard off because I think that really throws the balance test off. So we'll put it back on. I thought we'd do is do a little bit of knife stuff, see how well this thing carves. It's got a great little edge on it, how comfortable it is to carve with, and maybe if it actually will strike a ferro rod, because I've got my doubts. It just feels pretty rounded to me. So let's take a quick look at that and see. So I've got some wood here. I've already split out, and you know, it's a full tang knife, so we could split this if we wanted to. There's no doubt we could split this, and I could do that if you want me to. Do you want me to? Okay, I will. All right, so here we go. A little silliness. It's a 2-inch blade, so you're not going to split anything big, but this has been out here, so we'll just for the heck of it, I want to make sure this thing's tough enough. Kind of split out a nice little thin piece here, which is pretty good. So we'll see how well it does on some carving tasks now. Now I'm going to try to do a little heavy work for this knife, which is probably not what it's designed for at all. But you know, for skinning a small animal, this would probably be great. For several other tasks, but we'll just go ahead and see if we can maybe how well it does some feathers. Let's take a look at some fatwood, one of my favorite things. Okay, so we got the fatwood here. Got my light my fire steel, which is pretty hard, I think. It's one of the harder ones. We're going to try it though and see if I can get any sparks at all from it. None whatsoever. Zero. I mean none. We'll try the bigger brother just to show you the difference. So that's the bigger one, and that's using the jimping. The smaller one, I'm trying the jimping, but it's actually yeah, it's not happening. Okay, so that's the Schrade SCHF5SM mini neck knife, or just small knife. I know a lot of folks don't like neck knives. I like the fact that it's just a small knife. So pros and cons, let's talk about those real quick. First, as you saw, it's pretty well balanced. It's actually really got a good edge on it. It's got a really nice profiled edge for a lighter task and emergency type task. You could skin a small animal with this, I would think, very easily. It's got a lot of control. Even for, you know, small carving tasks, making traps or whatever, I think it'd be great. And again, for a small survival kit, I think this is vastly superior to like a little scalpel blade or some of the stuff they put in. It will not fit in an Altoid's tin, so it's a little too big, even diagonally or whatever. Even if you try to grind off the you know, the end here, it still won't fit. And you really, I think that extra little ½ inch there, or whatever, gives you a little more something to control on, because it kind of fits in your hand. It's definitely not a everyday use kind of item, but for an emergency survival kit kind of knife, I think it's pretty decent. So those are the things I do really like about it. My biggest downfall of this thing for me is that it will not strike a ferro rod. Now, I had a really hard rod. Obviously the light my fire rods are kind of hard, but I mean, you see my finger there and my knuckle, that's some, anytime you try to use a short striker, it's not working. That's some banging against the log. So. But in all fairness, it is not designed to be a striker. It is a knife. So for that, it works very well. And I'm sure all you'd have to do is take a little file here, like some other knives, and you just file that off a little bit and you got a good striker. Also, when you're doing really like any kind of really heavier or harder carving, it gets uncomfortable pretty quick, which is to be expected because it's a little skeleton handle, very small. So you're having to grip it a little harder maybe than you would a larger knife to maintain control. But it definitely, again, gets the job done. And again, it's not designed, in my opinion, to be a, you know, go-to all-around knife. This is more like an emergency backup blade. And for that role, I think it fits very well. Again, the biggest drawback to me is the spine not being sharp. Other than that, I think it's a really nice little knife to put in a small survival kit. That's the Schrade SCHF5SM. And once again, I'd like to thank the folks at Schrade for sending me this so I can show it to you. And as always, I'd like to thank you for watching Survival on Purpose. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for clicking that like button, for sharing it with your friends. Thanks for watching those ads at the beginning and wherever they show up. I don't know. And thanks so much for using my links to shop on Amazon. It really supports the channel. It helps me out a lot, helps keep things rolling, and I sincerely appreciate it. Thanks for all your support. Once again, my name is Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival is not an accident, so be prepared. See you next time.